My name is Pete Graychuk. I'm joined by my colleague Etienne Grobler. I'm responsible for sales and marketing here, whereas Etienne is responsible for product development and the direction, and he's the chief architect of our e-commerce products. Today, we're going to talk about our e-commerce suite, which is really the only products we have left for Sage 300 at the moment. And if you have any questions, you can either feel free to unmute yourself and ask away, or if you prefer, enter them in the Q&A section, and that's preferable to the chat because the Q&A actually gets recorded with the session. So if for some reason we can't get to the question before the end of the session, we'll get back to you with the answer. But I think we should be able to answer it. We've got a fairly small audience today, so we can make this real personal for you. Please tell me if my screen is not visible. It says I'm sharing, so I think we're good to go. Etienne, can you confirm you see my Webtelligence screen?
I see your screen, Pete.
All right, good stuff. All right, so let's carry on here. So I guess it's no surprise to everybody that things changed pretty dramatically over the past couple of years since the pandemic hit, and people scrambled to find new and better and, I don't know, innovative ways to do business. And you know, this quote came out actually fairly early in the pandemic from gentleman at BDC about consumer behavior and what's expected to carry on after the pandemic is even over. And I think it's largely because people discover just how convenient it can be to do business with their vendors and people they do business with, and actually started to demand it. Even before the pandemic hit, we started to see significant trends toward online adoption of people. And a lot of us will do this. We'll do our research online and we'll pretty much have sold ourselves before we even go out and ever reach out to somebody, to a business or to a salesperson to help us with that process. And once we've decided what we want to buy, a vast majority of us want to make that purchase online. And that last little wheel there says that, you know, a lot of the guys are making a significant amount of their purchases online these days. And since the pandemic hit, that's only accelerated. I mean, look at these numbers put out by Essential Retail. B2B online purchases increased 24% last year. And most of them want to buy from an online platform. But this last line here, and I got a little annotation thing here, if I can figure out how to use it. This last line here, I guess I don't know how, pardon me, let me back up, is the one that should really leap out at us. 43% of people surveyed said they changed vendors because they didn't provide them with an online option for buying. That's a significant amount of customers that you could lose if you're not embracing what customers want you to provide to them. So really, it's time. If you're not there already, it's time to get in that game. And it's no longer just the domain of the big players, you know, like the big box stores or Amazons or people like that. The small to medium-sized businesses can get in this game and do so pretty affordably as well. And what you want to do, first of all, is get yourself educated first, because it's not just a matter of throwing up a web store. I mean, obviously, yes, that's a crucial element of it, and it's got to be easy to navigate, and it's got to display your products well, it's got to do all that stuff. But that's, I guess, what you'd call table stakes now. If you don't have that, you're not even in the game. But what small to mid-sized businesses really need to focus on is how do they gain efficiencies when they're doing this. So, you know, I can't tell you how many times we've heard from customers who went out there and spent $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 building a web store, and then they come to us and say, now can you integrate it into my Sage 300 for me? It's like, sorry, that's not how it works. Our platform is purpose built to be integrated like deeply into Sage 300, and we build it for that purpose. We don't hook on to, you know, a WooCommerce or a Shopify site or anything like that. It's purpose built for Sage 300 integration. And business to business is a unique animal in and itself. It's not the same as a business to consumer type of thing. You want to be sure that you're providing your wholesale customers with their pricing, with their credit terms, and any sale pricing, contract pricing, all that stuff that is just inherent within Sage 300 is now just available to them on the web when they want to go do their shopping, they're buying, they're interacting with you. And not to mention a customer portal that gives them access to all of their information that you're maintaining for them inside of Sage and allowing them to pay their bills and interact with you online. So North49, as well as being a Sage 300 authorized partner, is also a Sage 300 development partner. We've been doing so for 30 plus years. We've developed a lot of products over the years, and pretty well all of them now form part of the Sage 300 core. What that means is Sage bought them from us and integrated them into Sage 300. In fact, contracted with North49 to write them into the source code. So, a few years ago when this happened, they released the source code of Sage 300 to us so we could integrate these products directly into their product. So I think it's safe to say that outside of Sage, we're probably the only company in the world that has access to that Sage 300 source code. So when it comes to integrating a product into Sage 300, nobody's going to do it better than North49. We've got deep knowledge of this. And when we build our products, our e-commerce products, we ensure that they are compatible with future releases of Sage 300 before they ever hit the street. Because we're on the Development Partner Advisory Council with Sage, we have access to all of the beta releases of this software. We have influence and input as to where they go in product direction. So we make sure that our products are compatible with these new releases before you ever see them. It's the e-commerce suite that we have is made up of three primary components. Number one is the customer portal, and this can be deployed completely on its own. It doesn't have to be part of the full e-commerce suite, although 99.9% of the time it is. When somebody gets Webtelligence, which is our integrated e-commerce suite, to Sage 300, it'll have a customer portal as part of it. And in the middle of that, and it actually has a foot kind of in both of these camps, is what we call it our mobile sales portal, but it could also be a customer service portal. It's an internal staff's access to customer records and to order placing and that kind of thing. So there's lots of ways that our e-commerce suite can help you deliver a great experience to your customers and provide them with that online service, self-service on my time, not yours, that customers are demanding. So enough of me yammering on about this stuff. Let's let Etienne take over and show you what the product's all about. Etienne, it's all yours.
Thank you, Pete. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Let me initiate a screen share here, and you should pretty soon see my very blank screen. Good morning, everyone. My challenge always is, how do I demo a product which I could very easily speak of for hours on end. Believe me, that's true in a short period of time. And so I'd like to speak about ability and concepts, and perhaps show you around a little bit and deal with our methodology of deploying a website, and then invite questions, and hopefully in discussing the functionality and how the system puts together, will give you an idea of the ability of what it could deliver to you. And to that extent, probably a good idea to start with the customer portal, or the functionality of the portal. And the portal is very much a part of every e-commerce system that we roll out, and especially so when we're dealing with a business-to-business website. So the customer portal is that portion of the website that when somebody logs in to the website, they then have access to data sitting underneath. Why do we show that up front? Well, first of all, because it is very commonly a part of any e-commerce system, but I think more importantly, because it does speak to our technical ability and what the website could potentially do for you. We have two means of communication, communicating between the web and your internal system. One of them is called Dataport. Dataport is our synchronization, if you will, software. It's installed locally on your servers. And that piece of software is responsible for keeping the website and your and your ERP system in sync. And so it will do the mass communication of, a new price list or price updates or new customers, new items, etc., up to the web. And it will likewise bring down orders, payments, etc., from the web into your Sage 300 system. The other component is what we call Connect, and Connect does not transfer data between the two systems. It simply reads and writes data real time as they happen. And so Connect would be that component which we will use, for example, to show the customer portal. What do we achieve by that? One, the data does not reside on our server. So it is a means of deploying data absolutely securely. Number two, we can read any data. We can read any data out of Sage 300, any SQL data, etc. Meaning that if you have any oddity which you need to use on the website, we can very easily accommodate that. And that would range from how many items do I have on hand right now? Well, we can go and read that on demand. Through to I want to use an optional field for a Spanish description of an item. Well, an optional field is not data which is typically synchronized to the web, but we can get hold of it. We can bring it up to the web, and we can use Connect in order to do that. Because we do not store the data on our system, we do not have to provide a database compatibility for you to bring weird and odd data up onto the web. We can simply read the data, display it to the user, and then discard it when the user navigates away. In deploying these two systems, we make absolutely sure that our ultimate goal of being able to take an order online remains intact regardless of whether your system is available or not. So as we deploy these two methodologies, they can go hand in hand. We will discuss with you the importance of certain data as it relates to, for example, placing an order. So, example, one of the abilities of our system is when a user hits the go ahead and place the order button, we will try and write that order into your system real time and notify you that it's been done through Teams or a text message or an email or Slack. And so things are really happening in real time. As an order is placed, it is inserted into your order entry real time. But if you have a failure at that point, you're busy backing up your data, you're busy doing a massive upgrade, whatever the case might be, we will still hold on to that order because the ultimate goal is for the system to take that order. And when your system is back online, Dataport's going to take over and synchronize that data. So there's some relevance here. So let's start off with the customer portal. And having spoken a little bit about functionality or ability for us to communicate, and I will approach the customer portal almost from the outside. So let's have a look at what's called click to pay. Click to pay is that ability for you to embed data, whatever that might be, into a form. And that could be, I've just mocked up a Word form here, but it could be an email, a PDF, etc., which will direct the customer in a certain direction. And in this case, it's going to direct the customer to a portal for him to pay his account. And so I've used Ronald Black in sample data here, and hey, Ronald, you owe us for invoice number 61, and please click here to go ahead and pay. And when the customer then does that, we're going to bring up the website for him and say, go ahead and pay. And you'll see there was a slight delay as we reached this page because all we gave the system is the customer number and the invoice number. And the system then went and validated that data and said, okay, this is Ronald Black. There's the invoice, that's the invoice date, and there's the amount of the invoice that needs to be paid. So there is Connect in action. Let's do the reverse side of it. So we've now gone and read data, we brought it up onto the website. And again, I know we're looking at the portal, but this is very much equally true for an internal e-commerce system, and the technology is going to be relevant. So when we now want to pay this, we then likewise want to feed this payment right back into Sage. I've loaded the Sage 300 system, which back-ends this particular portal. And this is it. And if we drill in here, you'll see that my AR batch here is empty. There's nothing in my AR batches. Let's go back to the portal, and the customer is going to go ahead and pay that amount. We'll go ahead, a card number. Hope I put enough ones in there. Let's give it a good expiry date and go ahead and pay this account. The customer is now taken away from the website to go pay this account. That gives us what's called a post back. So we're staying on the right side of PCI compliance here. We're not taking the card itself. The customer has paid. By the way, you may have heard my phone ping here. That is my email telling me that there was a payment. I'll just kind of slide that over here. Hello, sales team. Your customer, Ronald Black, has made a payment of that amount on the portal, 239342. And so all the communication is happening real time. I also got a notification on my Teams that there was a payment made, and I can do that. I just want to slide close most of my Teams. Here we go. This is my Microsoft Teams. And right now at 10:47, a payment of that amount was received from customer, that for invoice number 61. You can see that interaction happening real time. Let's go over to Sage. Let's open up our receipt batch again, and voila, there is our receipt written directly into Sage. So what I've shown you here through the customer portal is our ability to communicate up and down in real time. There was no synchronization running. I didn't have to push any buttons. Nothing happened. The data was fed from Sage onto the website and from the website back into Sage as we demanded it to be. Okay, so there is one of our communication systems. I think that is probably one of the primary areas which just radically sets us apart from any other system available on the market today. Let's take a very quick look at the portal while we've got it open here. So I'm going to log in as a user called Ronald Black. Ronald Black will potentially get a pop-up if they had a particular type of message in the customer comment. So you've got the ability to communicate to Ronald Black kind of one-on-one. Ronald can now have a look at his account. He can have a look at transactions. He has the ability to drill into a transaction. Because this is customer facing and your customer really doesn't care whether your system is batch processing or not. We will go and read, for example, remember we just paid invoice number 61. We will go read any data which sits in what Sage will call a pending state. In other words, that transaction's in a batch, but is not yet been posted. And so we are going to show this as being posted already, even though it's sitting in the batch real time, because that's what your customer expects to see. We can drill into that invoice. The customer now have self-help. They can print copies of this invoice, etc. Pay account will do pretty much just that, allows the customer to go ahead and pay his account online. Manage credit cards, we do give the customer access to manage the credit cards if you choose to do that. So you can add a new card here for payment, etc. View any outstanding orders. There's a huge amount to speak to here, but I'll be chewing up way too much of our time. So I'm just going to skip through that. But over here, a customer can have a quick look at a particular order. They will see the status here. They can, of course, drill into an order and get themselves a copy of the order. They can print a copy of the order, PDF it, do whatever they need to do with it. And again, I'm sorry, I am overemphasizing this, hopefully not too much, but all of this functionality will be available within the web store in as much as you choose to deploy that. We do tracking, so if there's tracking, the user can see that. If an invoice has been, if an order has been invoiced, the user will be able to have a look at the list of invoices issued. If there's a tracking number, they may be able to click on that tracking number and track through on that document. Order entry. This is an iteration of what we call the quick order pad, which is very often deployed on a website. And this allows the user to just very quickly post an order. If you want to show them certain data fields here, what is your address, you know, your PO number, etc., and they can go ahead and issue an order almost in an order entry type form, rather than having to navigate through the website, if you will. With that, then, let me move away from the portal and concentrate more on a full e-commerce system. Starting with our methodology, if we are engaged in a project, It is your choice whether you want to use your own graphic designers or make use of our internal graphic designers. If you choose to use our designers, which typically would be a lot more cost effective, we do work in an environment called InVision, and we work with Adobe XD mainly. And so we will open up a project here, and I'm going to go to a very specific, slightly older project because it has gone live and I want to show you that. But every project gets a project opened here, and when we then engage on that project, you will have access to live through that project with us. So as the project gets designed, we will make it visible. You can comment, make adjustments, etc. And you will see, for example, that the project will radically differ. So let me just pop up two examples here. This is a company called Scott Pumps. And you will see that there is literally a page designed for every single page that may or may not be open. So, you know, everything from the who are we screen, and what does that look like? What can I click on? What do I not click on, etc. So these are all available. Through to, for example, the landing pages, the category pages, etc. So every page gets a design, every page gets your feedback. In the end, we hand this design over to the developers and they literally deploy it. Why do we take this approach rather than a template? Well, because we believe that the website needs to be an extension of the message your company is putting out into the market. It is a marketing tool. I know that its primary task is to take an order and do business, but in order to do so, it also needs to represent your company, your product, what you want to sell, and your customers. So very clearly, a customer of Scott Pumps here is not going to be the same customer profile as somebody visiting the Victoria's Secret website. And so the design of this website needs to, you know, be your company, needs to be your product, and it needs to accommodate your customers. And so we have websites which may look very bland, but the customer says, or the website owner said, we have guys sitting on a roof working on an HVAC system, and they want to very quickly order a product on their cell phone. So we're not going to bombard them with graphics. We just want it simple. We want them to be able to place an order. And so we have Scott Pumps, for example. And then in the same vein, we will have sites which are entirely inward facing, like Beeline. So Beeline would go in. You will see that there are no fancy graphics here whatsoever. The entire Beeline site is aimed at internal use. So they can call up customer orders. They can deal with customer orders. They can place customer orders, all from within the website. It is not intended to be used externally at all. We have what is called a multi-tenanted SaaS solution. So every one of these sites that I may be showing you today sitting on the same software. That represents the flexibility of our software to deliver the solution which is going to be suitable for you, but B, also your assurance that we are ahead of the game at all times. So when a new feature comes in Sage, we implement that feature. That feature is available to everybody. We make sure that, as Peter said, we are compatible way ahead of time, so we never have compatibility issues if you choose to upgrade to the latest version of Sage 300. Let's move down. I hope they're still on this page. There we go. This is a website called Vicenza. Vicenza Designs. They sell very high-end cabinetry hardware, you know, knobs and doorknobs and railings, etc. And their front page design had the scrolling image at the top and then highlighted products, then products by category in a more kind of graphic way. You know, our Pinterest account, sign up to our newsletter, and I forget which one, but it's any of the big mailing companies could be integrated here, Facebook and so on. In navigating through the system, they wanted the ability to navigate either based on the design of the product, and they call them product families. So I want that design that I want to go to, or by application. So I need to find that exact same product going by product category, but now I want to look at door handles or door knockers, etc. So their ability to navigate through the site based on what their customer wants to find, very well thought out. I want to go that way, or I want to go this way. Let's hop onto the live site here. So here's Vicenza Designs. You can see the scrolling image at the top. It is just an infinite image, so it'll keep on scrolling in as much as they put images down there. Very simple. Go drop an image in a folder and it's going to start scrolling. You want to remove it, take it out, and it won't scroll. And when you drop the image there, tell us if you want us to link to a particular page or not. Our highlighted products, as we saw on their design, the quick ship is simply a optional field with a yes/no value, which indicates that this product can very quickly be manufactured. So they have the raw material, they have the stamp dies, etc. While the others are probably going to require some sort of lead time to manufacture the product. Shop by category, remember we had a look at that, subscribe, etc. And so here is that design coming to life. Product family, show me the Archimedes products, and it's going to pop through. In terms of finding the product, we go, a number of steps further. So we do have, of course, your usual search bar there, and then we have a filter, and a filter differs from a search in that it narrows down between down from an already selected category of products to a subset meeting certain criteria. So for example, we can go towel bars and I don't know, door handles, and just narrow that down, and the system is going to come up with those iterations of products. And so from here we can then drill down and go find that product that we're looking for. Likewise, we can go through here, so we can say let's have a look at I'm trying to find one which is going to give us a bit of an expansion. Door handles, perhaps. Nope, that's not going to give me what I want. But here again, I can now narrow down and find what I want to find. Let's go back to Archimedes. I want to have a look, for example, at their pull. So here is a pull or a door handle. It comes in various iterations. So this one website is now representative of a number of products, and you can see that this is a very exclusive a range of products. And so if there were multiple lengths, I'll be able to select the length here that I want, and then select the particular product in which manufacturing material I wanted, and the image is going to adapt to that, and I can now go ahead and add this item into my shopping cart. This is a B2C, in other words, it's a consumer site, so it does not require me to log in. If it is a B2B or B2E and you do have a login, then very typically there wouldn't be any buying options or any pricing until you do log in. Either way, once you log in, we do understand who you are. We have context. We can then reshape the website, if you will, to accommodate the products available to you, the pricing available to you, and we do honor the Sage pricing down to the finest details. So we will look at the customer if you choose, and honor his price list. We could even limit what he may or may not see based on his price list. So it's possible for you to make a certain range of products available to the end user market, and reserve a certain range of products that is then additionally available to your distribution list if you want to do that. Any sell pricing, any contract pricing, etc. And the user can now go ahead, of course, and log out. And at that point, then we do need him to sign up or sign in, either one of the two. We do need to keep track of who you are. The terms code is going to depend on, is going to dictate whether we want to take a payment from him or not. Does he have an account? Does he have sufficient credit, etc.? Let's move on to another website. This is Magura. Magura sells bicycle parts, brakes, cables, etc. And you will see again that they have a front page which represents their product, so the outdoor life, etc. A couple of buyer's guides, categories here, a couple of highlighted products, a story, who are we? They have what they call ambassadors, so they will sign up athletes to be ambassadors for them, and so they will have these guys write stories. So, you know, a blogging page almost, but dedicated to particular stories and pictures, etc. Featured partners, etc., etc., and then all the way down, you know, to find a dealer, etc., etc. They do have a multi-currency site. I do believe from my last login that the site believes that I'm somewhere in Europe. So it will give me the pricing based on what we call geofencing, to look where I am, is then going to deliver those products to us. Now, if we drill down into, for example, rim brakes here, here are a couple of those products dedicated. There's a catalog download that I can go fetch. If we go into a particular product, it's then going to start showing me that product and product details. I do want to log in. I mentioned the HVAC site a little earlier, because there's something there that I just want to highlight for us. And the company is called TipTop. There's a few unique issues or things about TipTop. First of all, they have two websites pointing at the same database. So they have a unique US site with a unique US flavoring, and then they have a Canadian site. And if we go into the site, so these guys said, look, everybody that uses the site is going to be on a mobile phone. And so everything we design will work on any piece of equipment. So that site now viewed on a mobile phone has not lost any of the context of what they want to do here. It's adaptive design, and everything we do is the adaptive design. And you would see these three boxes here on a wider screen is going to drop in next to each other rather than underneath each other. So we continue to maintain compatibility with the piece of equipment you're in. If we go have a look at a particular product, and this is very exclusively a B2B site. So you will see, as I look at product, for example, and I believe they have somewhere in the region of 18,000 products, you will see no purchase option here. I'm not logged in, so I can browse around, but I'm not going to be able to see anything. They took a very novel approach with a short French description of products and put that into an optional field. And here is another example of where we can use the data you already have inside Sage 300 and simply render that up onto the web. So they use an optional field for a French description, which is kind of a really cool way of just giving us a brief French flavor to the site. But again, no purchase option, no pricing available. I've not logged in yet. And what I do want to point out here is the amount of data that they're able to render on the site. So, you know, product information, related products, all the spare parts for this machine, documentation, you know, down to an exploding part list, for example, a diagram part list, how-to videos. Customers also bought, so whoever bought that also bought some other stuff, and we want to show that to you on the screen. Let's go ahead and log in and just show you how the screen is going to adapt to what I am throwing at it. I am logging in as a demo customer, so I'm not going to show you anything I'm not allowed to show you, and it failed. And hopefully I still have login. There you go. I've now logged in. So it's going to end me up or land me up as a quick start on my own account page, and here is that portal. I can have a look at my account activity. I can view transactions, etc. I can look back at my purchase history. Because we can read any data out of Sage 300, we're going to read that directly out of Sage 300. So I can, as a customer, go back and look when I ordered certain products. I can also reorder certain products, and over there we're going to go back, extract the invoices from my AR account, show them, and allow me to reorder any products that I previously ordered. Dealer favorite wish list, etc. Monthly flyers. Personally, I would have given this a slightly more colorful picture. But here I can download flyers and PDFs. Now let's go have a look at that product again. Go back to my products, and you will see that now I have context. We know who I am. I've logged into the website. I can now display pricing. I can allow you to add that to the cart right from this screen, so you don't necessarily have to dig any deeper. And I can add this to my wish list. If I now go into this product, I can likewise get all of that information over here. Because I've logged in, we now have this quick order page. Remember, we spoke about this earlier. They chose just to simply have a list of items here, so I can very quickly drill down and just place a list of orders in kind of rapid fire means, so I do not have to navigate through the site. And I think with that, I am going to take a break and ask for questions or comments or anything we can answer, failing which, Pete, I'll hand back to you.
All right, thanks, Etienne. So any questions from what you've seen? I know we breezed through that pretty quick. We just kind of wanted to give you a flavor, a quick overview. I think the point we're trying to make here is that your website's going to look the way you want it to look, and it's going to integrate directly into your back office accounting system, which saves you a ton of time trying to transcribe one order in or getting your products up. There's work on both sides of that equation, right? It's getting your products up onto the web and getting your orders and your payments down into Sage for fulfillment. So a lot of people overlook that when they first start thinking about building a website. Their only thought is, okay, how do I get my stuff up there and make orders? So it's the ongoing maintenance that really doesn't even enter their mind until after you've launched that site and you discover, wow, I just created this huge amount of work for my people to maintain this thing. And if you can automate that process, now you're way ahead of the game there. That's why for small to mid-sized businesses who don't have just tons of people sitting around, doing a whole bunch of these trivial tasks, getting that automated is crucial. So I don't see any questions entering the chat, or nobody's popped in. So let me just share my screen again, and we can, hang on a second, where am I? And we can wrap things up for everybody here. All right. Where's my screen? That's the guy right there. So just one more slide to show you, and that's all of our contact details. This is how to get a hold of us. We're on, well, several of the social media platforms. That's my email address. There's our telephone number, our website.
I'm not seeing your screen, Pete.
Not seeing my, oh, I didn't hit the share button. There you go. Technology.
Thank you.
So anyway, now there's all the stuff that's up there. This is how you can get a hold of you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to answer any questions for you. Our website's a good place to look. Our YouTube channel is a good place to look. But again, everyone's situation is unique. We're happy to have that discussion with you and address your very specific requirements around your customers and your products and what that site should look like, how it should navigate, all of that. Very crucial part of putting your best foot out there for your customers and prospective customers to see. Last chance for questions. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll give you a few minutes back in your day, and we do hope to hear from you if you think we can be of service. Thanks all. Have a great afternoon.